Welcome. It's great to see you here at this exciting event. I'm Dion Zell, the Associate Vice President for Academic Technology, and again, we're thrilled to get started. So I have the privilege of introducing our Provost today, Provost E. Lee. So with no further ado, he's going to get the ball rolling for us. So would you like to come on up? Great, thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Dion, and for this great opportunity. Welcome, everyone. I'm really very excited to see what you can tell me. It was literally my first week when I arrived. Dion invited me to actually came to meet with the faculty who were going to start a cohort for the e-learning last summer, late July, and there I saw about 15 faculty working with an army of, all right. Sorry about that. I have that tendency. With the army of, staff and faculty from our Faculty Technology Center, working away on pedagogy, technology design, online component of all of that. And most of all, I think that's what really impressed me, is building a community, between all these very important components, our faculties, our technical staffs, and our curriculum staffs, to really talk about what we can, use technology to advance our student learning, to utilize technology as a tool to improve success, and also better making use of the space and technology utilization. So actually driving down, potentially in the future, the cost of instruction, which is very important also to all of us. So after I left the room and I asked Dion, when could I actually see some of the outcomes, the product that I know our faculties are going to be working on during the summer and throughout the year, presenting their new design of courses or integrating the technology into the classrooms. And I believe today is the day. And I'm very excited. I'm really very excited for me that we have that, really the integration of instruction and technology and in the same room, and happens every summer throughout the year, is really remarkable. It shows our commitment, our faculty, and our technology support. So I'm very excited to hear more from you. And without further ado, let me now turn it over to Professor Velasquez, and is our MC today. And here you are.
Thank you very much. I'm super special, so I have my own microphone. My name is Yarma Velasquez. My mother blessed me with a made-up name, so it's very hard for everybody to pronounce, even in Puerto Rico, where I'm from. I work in Chicano Studies, and today I'm your MC. So as I see it, we have three types of people here. People that are really, really good at e-learning, and they're all in this first row, and we're going to give you great presentations today. People that devote all of their life and energy and work to preparing us, training us, educate us on how to become better instructors using technology, and people like me that, even though it's very interested, still writes her notes in stationery of cats with magic markers. So today we're going to start by watching a video. What is e-learning?
So e-learning is really just learning. I think in the 21st century, it's learning. You can't separate learning from e-learning. It is kind of the same thing at this point.
So I might use an iBook, I might use Camtasia, I might use videos, I might use my iPad to show content to the students in my class. And that's a great thing.
My students no longer turn in their assignments on paper. They upload everything to Moodle. I make my corrections that way. They don't have to wait until they get back to class to get my feedback. It's available whenever they log in.
Because I'm a librarian, e-learning typically to me means distance learning. So we're talking about meeting students where they are when we're not seeing them face to face.
You say e-learning and it seems like it's just using technology, but it's much more comprehensive and kind of in the fiber of the class rather than an addition on top of. It's kind of embedded inside of the course.
So what we really want is them thinking deeply and processing information with higher level thinking skills. And technology is a great way to do that. I think e-learning becomes a much broader picture when we think of it this way.
Okay, so what to expect? We're going to have a combination of presentations and videos in order to demonstrate what is the product of all of our work. But before that, I know that you have very inquisitive minds. I wanted to clarify some of the process. First, if you have any questions throughout the event, we're going to save them to the end. However, we're going to use technology to ask those questions. So we're going to go to poll everywhere in order to ask the questions. In order to do that, first we're going to practice. So I want everybody to use their computers, their laptops, their iPads, their phones to go to poll everywhere and answer a very quick question. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, so the question is, what does the E in e-learning mean to you? And I want you to just type one word. I mean, there is the possibility of doing more than one word, but I'm just not going to give it to you. It is certainly exciting. All right, so here's what's going to happen next. At any point you have any questions throughout all of the videos and presentations, you can ask them through using poll everywhere. And at the end of all of the presentations, we're going to have some interactive ways of you asking those questions. But let's start with enhancing a core course with e-learning. Presentation by Deborah Melberg and Tara Pham.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Dr. Tara Pham, and I'm here with my colleague, Dr. Debbie Melberg, and we're here from the Psychology Department to talk about how we use the eLearning Institute to enhance a bottleneck course in our major. So if this graphic represents all of the students at CSUN, all 40,000 of them, the psychology major would actually take up an entire row with 4,000. We have a very large major. And some of the courses that we've designed in our curriculum are required of all of our students. One of those courses is Psychology 301, a course in pre-professional development where students get to learn about the major of psychology, about the field of psychology, how to navigate through the major, and then how to succeed after they leave CSUN. It's been taught in a traditional format with one instructor in front of a bunch of seats of students in a classroom. But what we did with this project was we redesigned it, and we got numerous faculty across the department to collaborate to make some online video-based modules that we then incorporated into a Moodle course that could be delivered to several students via computer. So this new module, online module format, allowed us to accomplish many different things in the course. It first allowed us to have a very collaborative content for students to see. So in the traditional format, students were receiving their instruction from one person their instructor of record, who had one background in psychology and came from one field or area of psychology, whereas now they're getting to hear from almost all of the faculty in the psychology department, coming from so many different areas. In addition, the online format allowed us to increase the number of seats per section and the number of sections that a faculty could carry, such that this reduced the bottleneck. In fact, the department is committed to bringing this course fully online for fall 2016 to save some resources and costs for the college. Third, it allowed us to standardize the content of the course so that we were ensuring that all of the students could meet their student learning objectives. And then finally, we found that a lot of the tools that were given to us at the eLearning Institute allowed for a much more engaging delivery in this online format, which Dr. Malmberg will talk about.
Hi. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the tools that we learned about in the eLearning Institute this summer, and those are some of the ones that we use most frequently are shown here. First, we'd like to tell you a little bit about Zaption. And Zaption is an online video platform where there's interactive, which allows for interactive content with the student. So let's take a look at a sample video.
Welcome to our class. We're so excited you're here. My name is Dr. Debbie Malmberg, and I'm a psychology faculty member. This is my colleague,
Dr. Tara Fahmy. Welcome to Psych 301, a class that will introduce you to your major at CSUN, the field of psychology, and how to get that bling bling with your degree.
Another one of the tools that we use frequently and find helpful in a number of ways is PictoChart. And PictoChart is an online tool where you can design infographics. And it basically makes graphic design accessible to someone even like me. So I'll show you a sample of how we have used PictoChart to embed the video modules into the PictoChart online platform and onto these infographics. After that, we then embed this infographic directly onto the front page of Moodle so that students don't have to click very much to see their content. So let's take a look at some of these videos. So we've got the volume pretty much muted, but you can see that the student there's some context for what we're trying to teach, which really helps engage students in a fully online course.
My name is Scott Plunkett, and I have a PhD in human.
And so the students will proceed through a number of videos before moving on to the next content in this course. Another way that we have found PictoChart to be really helpful in designing these infographics is through the design of a visual syllabus. So here is a sample for you of a syllabus that was about, the normal 10 to 12 pages, I feel like. And we have simplified into a visual design with some slightly more engaging content than what my previous syllabus might have looked like. This is my favorite slide. And so you can see that there's quite a lot of content and many ideas here, but it's a little bit more streamlined and simplified for the students, with the goal of students actually reading the full syllabus. So the next steps in our e-learning redesign are for us to, as scientists, researchers, to evaluate the work that we are doing. So currently, we are working with one of our graduate students, one of our master's students, to design a study evaluating the outcomes and the effectiveness of this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're going to watch a video engaging learners with an interactive e-text. Healy events in mathematics.
I work with prospective teachers who are math majors. Some of them are getting their credentials and their math degrees at the same time. And their task is to go out into the high schools around here and motivate students to be excited about mathematics, which is very challenging. So to teach the course, I've been creating my own materials for many years. So I finally decided to put it all together in one package. And then simultaneously, CSUN had this great opportunity to become part of the eText initiative. So as they're reading through it, they'll see some mathematics, but in a usual textbook, you would then see a figure. But in this case, they're going to see an animated, interactive applet.
So the eText, I think, is a great resource for my students. I can always give them the website if I want them to use those particular topics in the eText. In addition, I would be able to create my own applets, especially through things like GeoGebra, based off of the applets that I learned in class.
The eTextbook doesn't just say like, oh, this is what it does and here you go and use this in your classroom. It's like, oh, well, play around with this, see what you can do with this little experiment that we're starting with and where can you go from there. So there's a lot of experimentation and discovery with the eTextbook, which is really cool.
And the most exciting thing for me is that I hear reports back from students who are actually using what they did in my class with their own high school students. And this is the goal. Their own high school students are seeing math in a more interactive way. Their own high school students are excited about the math. And they as teachers are excited about teaching math. And this was my goal. This is where I find mathematics is exciting, when you're actually engaging with it and interacting. And so it just makes me really excited to just keep going and to put things out there for teachers to use.
That seems very interesting if I could only begin to comprehend what she does. Okay, so next is Steve Graves, authoring cost-saving institutional materials.
All right, with me. Bum, 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 bum. You need a soundtrack, right? So, I teach a large section class, been teaching it for a long time, and realized some time ago I could write this textbook if I wanted to, and I found that students weren't often reading the text. And you ask them, why not? Well, I can't afford it, so I'm just trying to get by on your lectures and that kind of thing. $200, and I can't blame them for not buying them. I know when I was an undergrad, I had all kinds of schemes for not buying the textbook or finding a way around it. And if they don't read it, they don't pass my class, and that's a problem that we were fighting all the time, and I'm sure you have the same problem. And to be frank, the textbooks that we do have available, largely written in the 70s and the 80s, continually updated almost yearly or every other year with a few new sentences, and then you can't get the old versions. And I said, well, that's just enough of it. I've had enough. I thought maybe I'd get my pointer out here. I gave you a free picture of, I was going to say the administration building, and that's normally the joke, but I would call this publishing house, right? It's saved a lot of money, a lot of galactic credits over the years. Here on campus, just in the last 2 semesters, it has saved students $75,000. No small change. I've made it completely free to the students. I probably maybe should have thought about monetizing it a little bit. There's a little Star Wars humor here, get the arm and a leg thing. But the real nerds said technically it was 2 legs. So here's the cover of the textbook. It's all electronic, and it's sure to be saving a great deal more money, because I have found that there are about 10 universities that have adopted it already, just starting this semester. And I am starting to field emails from high school teachers that are teaching AP Human Geography around the country, and a lot of school districts facing the same fiscal constraints that our students face. It's not a great text for high school geography, because that's still kind of that old-fashioned geography that I was trying to get away from, but the AP folks have different ideas than I do. here are the things that I wanted to focus on, and I use a Star Wars analogy to demonstrate to students in class, and I've woven it into the textbook about how geography works as a discipline, not a subject, because that's what a bunch of the old textbooks are. Geography is subject, sort of a forced march through the world, memorize this and memorize this, and then you can kick your roommate's butt at Jeopardy or something. But that's not modern geography at all, and the textbooks don't really reflect that. Geography is the Jedi way, as I tell students. It's a way of collecting data with your eyes and with scientific techniques. It's an epistemology. It's a way of understanding and framing questions that is unique and spatial. To use the Force, you have to ask the question, where, Luke? So anytime you ask where, then you're part Jedi. We have specific technologies that are unique to our discipline. We have specific methodologies that are unique to our discipline. And we have a unique literacy. We can read and write in the language of maps, which is literacy, numeracy, graphicacy, but for us it's cartographicacy. It's a special language that is somewhat unique to you, or us Jedi. Here's a picture of me in action in the classroom. Look a little better today, not much. So the textbook, I wrote it in Microsoft Word. There are authoring tools that are pretty slick there if you're good with Word, and I save it in Adobe format. It has lots of links, etc. And I am serving it to the public and to students via a Google web page. It's all free that way and reasonably accessible. The students come here and then they can open the chapters as they wish. This is a sample of, well, chapter 1, page 1. And I use the gutter to have a series of extra things that they can go to. And so this is one of the features are cool links, and they can go and grab data as a geographer would grab a data. There are links to, this is URead as opposed to YouTube. There are YouTube videos in there. The URead links all go to peer-reviewed journal articles, so they can see this is the real deal as opposed to this sort of minor deal. A good geographer wears Jedi goggles, which means that they can interpret a scene in a way that the non-Jedi doesn't see, right? To me, the red dirt says a million things. And we show that the book focuses on Jedi mind tricks, which is asking sort of the where question, epistemology. And the lightsaber geographic information systems is our methodological tool that is unique to us. Other people occasionally pick it up, but only in the geography department will you find people solving the world's crises with lightsabers, or in other words, the GIS software. And if we can get you past the Padawan learner stage, you become a Jedi yourself, and this is what we hand out to our students at graduation.
Please remember to ask questions and put them in poll everywhere. Next, designing a custom quiz app, Cindy Malone, Biology Department.
So the students in genetics need to do a lot of practicing, and there's a particular chapter that just kills everybody. And so that's the extensions to genetics. So we wanted to build something that was easy for them to use, that they could do over and over, that has lots of practice problems for this specific chapter.
When I first saw the app, I thought it was really cool because it's a nice way for the students to get quizzed on the go. They get thrown a bunch of questions that Dr. Malone has prepared herself and are very representative of what they're studying in class.
And originally it was going to be more game oriented, but they just wanted more questions, no fluff. So we did still add some things like, the happy sounds when you get it right, or like a sad sound if you didn't pass, or try again and that sort of thing.
Like for the first chapter, the genetic readiness, it's kind of like similar to the one we have like on the first exam.
I love it. It's so convenient. I can study while I'm working in lab.
They don't have to stress about points or it's a quiz. It gives them a good barometer for where they stand, right? And all they need to do is practice more. There's no magic. They always want to know, what should I do to do better? What should I do? What should I do, Dr. Malone? And more practice. It would be amazing to make an app for every chapter in my class. So over the next 10 years, we'll have an app for every single chapter in genetics. And then there's no excuses. Everybody gets an A.
Paul Wilson, who I was confessing to, he gives me anxiety. He's so good, and every time I see him, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need an incomplete, I haven't finished.
No, really, you have finished your e-text.
Yes.
It's just that no one ever really truly finishes it. And I
Right.
still work on mine. Okay, so I direct this class that has 800 students a year and 30-something sections, and they're taught by TAs who may not be experts on any given week's subject. Up until now, it was a photocopied thing that had line drawings, and then it was taught to students who are required to have iPads. Our biology majors are required to have iPads. So there was a certain incongruity there and a great opportunity. So we asked for money. We got some money from the provost's office. We got some money from the chancellor's office. We got some money from the Judge Julian Beck grant, and that allowed me to hire some students that would help out and build stuff. So now it's 450 pages of an iBook and 226 entries in the glossary, which turn into flashcards, and 400 Moodle questions, and I'm revising it, and I'm not done. But I can't show you everything today. What I want to do is just show you some widgets. So I'll start with this widget. This is one that you too could make, and you don't have to run it on iPad. So I'll open it up here. It's got a map of campus. It could be a map of anything. They walk to that place. They tap on it, and it speaks.
You were standing just north of University Hall. In this little lawn are
And
planted a
then
number
they can
of
tap on it when they're
trees that we
done,
go by.
and it goes back to the map, and then they go to someplace else, and they'll listen to me for a minute.
Hello, students. You're standing just north of the Valley Performing Arts Center. Come back here and see plays and.
And if you want to make a widget like this, I've got the code. It's not a problem. Okay, so then I'm going to go back to the table of contents next. And from here, I'm going to tap on lawn plants. See that, lawn plants? And here's a couple pages of introduction. Then we get to this widget, which allows them to kind of use a decision tree to figure out the identities of the plants, and they're going to do that because they're doing a census of the plants so that they can do some science. But in order to do the science, you have to identify the plants. So I'm just going to tap on it, and they work through the decision tree, and then let's say they decide that it's one of these ones with compound leaves, and it goes to that. Actually, I didn't want to go to that one. Let's see, let's go to one that's lobed leaves. And then it's got a yellow flower, so I think maybe it's a dandelion. Get a close-up and tap a little bit farther. Looks good. There's some interesting stuff here about sex, and they can go look online if they want for more stuff. Anyway, you too could get this for free on your iPad and go identify all the plants in the lawn. Okay, so I don't have much time, so I'm going to go back to the table of contents. Yeah. The next thing I want to show you is this cool simulation of evolution on moths. So again, there's a couple of introductory pages here, a little bit of math that explains it, and then we open up the widget. Now this is a widget that this is kind of like, don't try this at home. Well, I mean, like I needed a multimedia student to help me on this. So I'll just begin the simulation here, and I'm serving as the predator, and I'm supposed to eat moths, so there's one. Sorry, I can't talk and do this at the same time. We had to make it hard so they didn't go extinct. So let's see here. There's one. Here's one. Here's one. I'm a terrible predator, but the students are much better at playing these games than I am, so it's okay. Let's see. Oh, here's one. And here's one. Well, anyway, so it took a little bit of programming to do this one, and then after you've run through the moths and you've tried to eat some of them are black, some of them are white, then you can project evolution for the next 100 generations, given that selection regime. So I'll just hit the button there, and it projects it up, and you can see that after 20 generations, we've gone from 50% frequency of the black allele to 90% frequency of the black allele. So, it takes a while, but evolution doesn't take forever. Okay, let's get out of that then. There's more of it, but let's see. I go back to the table of contents here. And then the next thing I'm going to show is this animal overview, little section. And here's a very simple widget. It's a lot of things are not totally linear, and these evolutionary trees are not. So if I click on the widget, then I can click on any part of it, and it gives me a little more information. So like if I want to know what this Zirconodermata thing is, it gives me a picture of it. Then I want to know, oh, what's Platyhelminthes? So I click on that, and it gives me a picture. And then I want to know what Arthropoda is, and so on. And these are spiders on campus spiders. And then it's got some, kind of more traditional stuff in it too. So there's some drawings, there's a diagram. We have about 20 videos, many of which I made. And of course, loads and loads of photos. Like there's hundreds, maybe over 1,000 photos. These things kind of cool. You can tap on it and it gives you a little bit more information. You tap on that, it gives you some more information. Very information rich. And I like this one. I'm going to tap on it. It'll open up. And what this one asks the students to do is to draw the path of water through the sponge. And it goes like this. That. Maybe this. And it comes out. So that's the path of water through the sponge. Exercise, kind of fun. Okay, let me go back to the table of contents here. There's just maybe one other thing worth showing, and that's sort of like the structure of each chapter. It starts with objectives, SLOs, and then we have this vocabulary. There's a lot of vocabulary to learn in biology, and the students don't know how to pronounce it, and so I've recorded myself pronouncing it, so this is the way it goes.
Mantle, fin, siphon, tentacles, arms, buccal bulb.
All right, that's it. Okay.
You almost had me convinced to take a biology class. All right. And for those skeptics that think that only certain disciplines are fit for e-learning, our next video is on music. And AJ McCaffrey from the music department. Thank you.
So one of the things that we work on a lot in a musicianship class is dictation or transcription. The idea is that the student is hearing music and they're writing it down, they're notating it onto music manuscript paper. And this can be really challenging to get all those different components online into some kind of resource that will help them. And what I've actually found is that all those can actually be really quite well done inside of a Moodle quiz. I can put a little player in there, a little audio player that plays them in MP3. They listen to the audio, and then they've got musical examples in front of them for the choices. And they can look and see, okay, which is the correct one, make that choice, and then get instant feedback. And it's all really actually quite easy to do inside of the Moodle quiz.
Yeah, I think it'll help me practice more often. Because with this kind of skill, with a skill like sight singing and solfege, it's the kind of thing where you can't cram for it. You gotta do it every single day a little bit, and it's like practicing an instrument. And so the skill kind of grows on you.
And I like the way it progressed, where it's like more and more notes were left out, and by the end, it's like my mind was kind of like filling in the blanks and being able to attach all the solfege syllables.
Practicing my flute, I feel like it would help me develop my ear better, when I'm playing, things like that.
And whenever you're eating food, you're at breaks between the classes, you can do this fast, You just put your phone with headphones, listen to it, choose the right answer. Boom, done.
And if I or other musicianship instructors find that a student is struggling in a particular area, we can come together and say, hey, let's build an activity, let's build a quiz, and we can really have control over the elements. We can really customize for that student, for their needs, for their learning strategies, for what works best for them, to guide them kind of from point A to point B, and really increase their confidence to be able to do it both in the classroom and at home.
The next presentation is for what I call the Gateway Project, aka a hybrid course. Developing a hybrid course redesigned, Nancy Carr.
Thank you. So my goal was to create a hybrid for B-Law 308, which is Business Law 2. We cover agency and business organizations. And it's a course that's required by many of our students, and some of the other students in the college take it as an elective. But we have 12 to 15 sections a semester, so it's really quite a large course. And I wanted to design a hybrid so that our students would have another way of taking the course. As you know, our students are so conflicted, right? They're managing families and jobs and so many courses. And I wanted to give them another opportunity to meet their goals of staying in school, graduating, achieving what they wanted, but having it in a different delivery method. So the problem was, or my challenge, was that I teach using the Socratic method, which means I don't lecture, I don't have PowerPoints. It's all based on the discussions we have in the class. So I kept trying to figure out, how can I do what I do differently? How can I take that and put it online? I don't want to video myself giving a lecture because I don't lecture in the classroom. So I kept feeling like I was trying to fit, a square peg into a round hole, until I met the amazing people in the Faculty Technology Center. And really, every one of them, they're completely amazing. And what I learned from speaking with them is that my mind was kind of off. It's not that I should take what I'm doing in the classroom and put that online, but that they're actually two different delivery methods. And there are techniques that work for us in the classroom, and there are different techniques that work online. And so my focus really needed to be on instructional design and making sure that I was designing appropriately for both the face-to-face and for the online. So in my case, I was looking to develop a hybrid, which meant I would have 50% of the class time face-to-face, and then the other 50% would be online. So now I knew that I wanted to have this, sort of combination, but I wanted to make sure that I was still being consistent in the way that I was delivering the materials and making sure that the students were meeting their student learning outcomes. So I decided to use the 5 gears for activating learning that you've probably heard about. It's making its way around campus. This was my overlying theme for both my face-to-face section and my hybrid section, so that I would keep these 5 gears in mind as I was designing each of those courses, using all of the tools that were appropriate for each delivery method. Okay, so then next, I had to learn which tools to use for the online section. So the things that you've seen today, haven't they been amazing? I mean, really, the e-text that we've seen, the videos that we've seen, they're amazing, right? But they can also be a little bit overwhelming, right? And part of what I was thinking as I was learning about these different tools is, how would I use that in the law? You know, we can't make a map of cool plants around campus and point to this and say, oh, this is the plant you're looking at, right? So I was trying to figure out, how would I do this? And one of the things they talk about in the eLearning Institute is about first focusing on what job it is that we're trying to do. What's the student learning outcome? What is it that we're trying to achieve? And then find the right tool for that job. So we learned about lots of different tools, some of which they told us about earlier today. One of the ones I started with was Moodle, because I already had some comfort with Moodle. So I learned about Moodle quizzes and the Moodle glossary and other things that I could do there. I did make some videos and post them on YouTube. I then learned about some other face-to-face strategies that, because some of the course content would be moving online, it freed me up in the face-to-face classroom to have time to do things like think, pair, share, and I do, we do, you do, that previously I was so busy just trying to get through content, I couldn't do those kinds of things. So one of the tools that I'd seen several people use was Powtoons. It's been mentioned a couple times today. It's a cartoon animation site, and I saw some videos that colleagues were making with it that seemed really cool, but again, how would you use animation for the law? And didn't that seem more like, you know, elementary education or something? But again, I just needed to start. I just needed to give it a try. So I developed this video for my students. This was something the students need to learn about how to distinguish between an employee and an independent contractor. And they had trouble not only learning the factors, but also how to use them in their analysis. So you can see that it's fairly simple animation, but it's colorful. We have the text, there's music behind it, and I did it all by myself. So really, you can do this. So my suggestion to you, my recommendation, one of the reasons why I wanted to speak with you today, is to encourage you, if you're seeing all these exciting things that everyone's doing and you're thinking, I want to do that, but I don't know if I can do that. I just suggest that you just dip your toe in the water, just start something, because one of the things that I learned was not only do these tools help you in designing the online or the hybrid section of your course, but they're also useful in the face-to-face part. This video that I developed is actually for the hybrid course, but when I first did it, I used it in my face-to-face course. I posted it on Moodle, and I said, look at it and tell me what you think. And I said, seriously, I'm not grading you. I want to know what you think. And the students came back to me and said, no, it was so helpful. It really helped us to master this material. And that's actually getting back to one of the 5 gears that I'm using. The 5th gear is mastery. And so using some of these different technology tools, both in the online or hybrid context, but also bringing those technology tools into our face-to-face classroom, assists those students with achieving mastery in their student learning outcomes. So thank you.
All right, our final video is Innovating Teacher Training with Tablets. Vanessa Goodwin.
In classrooms today, technology is becoming more and more of a teaching tool. What we're finding is that by having students actually practice teaching with K-12 students with technology here, that's transferring to their own classrooms when they begin teaching in their first year. Our pre-post data demonstrates that 30% more often our teacher candidates are using technology in a meaningful way. That means that the technology is adding value to the lesson, making it more effective and more motivating.
I think it's great, especially for kids with learning disabilities, because they really need the visuals and the hands-on to really kind of interact with the material. So anytime you have something where They can see technology, they get super excited, they get to use it. A lot of the time they don't even realize that they're learning anything, so it's really great. I've noticed that the kids really respond to it well.
I'm using it more and more. I'm doing my student teaching at a 6th grade class. I think if I didn't have the practice during my lectures, during my own class, I don't think I'll be so open to the idea of using an iPad in my class.
I work in a middle school right now at Nobel, and I use it constantly. And there's so many apps to use that the kids just love. And since they're more engaged, I think learning for them is just really fun. So iPad has been a very helpful tool.
I think it's great. It's a great use of technology. I mean, there's not a kid that's not going to be engaged with the iPad as opposed to just putting it on a board and having them listen. Like, it forces him to interact with it and to put all the pieces together instead of just, rotely reading things.
We in the special education department are so proud that we're able to prepare our teacher candidates to use technology on day one. The real winners are the K-12 students, who more of them have access to the information than ever before through thoughtful use of technology.
So thank you very much. In my experience, the outcomes with students are just as good, even better. But to me, the great value of e-learning is, number one, learning, forcing yourself to think about your discipline in different ways and becoming part of this community and meeting all of these people that are outside of your discipline but are interested in teaching and finding new ways of doing it. So right now we're going to have a short question and answer, and we have a cool tool to do it. It's called Catchbox, and we throw it. You ask a question.
You could treat Catchbox like a throwable microphone that's soft and safe. Just make sure to hold it up for anyone asking questions. Make sure to hold it up to your mouth so everyone can hear you. But it's a really cool tool.
So we have time only for 1 or 2 questions. So one question from Poll Everywhere. This is for Dr. Malone. Is your app available for download?
Why, yes.
The app is available free at the App Store to download, I think through iTunes. Yeah. And then I just wanted to second that the FTC people are just amazing. Yes. So all this stuff is only possible because they're so wonderful and helpful, like to make this all possible.
Yay.
One more question, maybe from the audience. Yeah? Yes.
This is to anybody who might be able to answer the question, but to maximize the effectiveness of visual learning tools in our classrooms, does anyone happen to know if coming down the pike will be flexibility of adjusting lighting in our classrooms to maximize our ability to see the screen and all the great work?
What about that?
Who should I give it to? Doctor.
It's an infrastructure question. Yes, it really is. And
it's an infrastructure question that involves it's lighting controls, and it's a major investment. And we have over 200 open lecture rooms alone and hundreds of labs, so it's a major infrastructure investment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we're there with the Q&A, but we have one last set of comments. I'm so pleased to be able to invite up our President Harrison to deliver some closing comments today.
My notes. And first of all, I want to say thank you to each and every one of our presenters and congratulations on your work. Congratulations on staying with it, even when you thought you might not be able to complete, you did. I want to know where the spiders are on campus so I can avoid them. But truly, the message that e-learning is really about learning. And we know that constantly, all of our lives are changing with technology. And in teaching, technology is such a great tool, and that's all that it is, a tool that you have to use, and that I think in many instances will result in greater learning outcomes for our students. And while I happen to be a visual learner myself, I'm much more comfortable seeing things. I keep saying if they had had these three-dimensional courses in physics where you could actually see those concepts, which you can now, or in biology or chemistry, I might have had a different major. Truly. So congratulations, thank you for your work. I hope you have inspired others to do likewise, to take some risks. You have until January the 8th to sign up for the eLearning Institute. Is that the right name? Very good. I'm going to also, I want to thank Yarma for being the MC today. Always a fun thing to do. Again, be one to thank our stellar team of instructional designers and the technologists and faculty liaisons for putting all of this together, for working with our faculty, for saving our students money. I mean, think of all the good things that you're doing. It's just amazing. Hillary Kaplowitz, Dion, and the rest of your stellar team there, thank you again. It's just so exciting to see. This is, I think, the 4th year I've come, and I see new things every time. And what's really exciting is seeing the vast array of disciplines and the kinds of applications that people are making. It's just magnificent, and I thank you for it. And finally, I want to thank our new provost, E. Lee, Vice President Hillary Baker, for their collaboration between technology and academic affairs and faculty development. So thank you. I think this is fantastic. Congratulations. I believe they're going to have some food. So enjoy, help yourselves, and we'll see you next year, I hope.